welcome to Public Global. I'm Neelu Vyas. Now, a firestorm of scrutiny has erupted over US President Donald Trump's role in Wednesday's dramatic stock market rebound after he posted a pair of bullish messages on the social media just hours before announcing a pause on a sweeping set of tariffs. Trump's posts, one of which urged Americans to buy into the market and included the ticker symbol for his own media company, added roughly 4 trillion US dollars in value. However, it also drew the ire of Democrats who unanimously raised calls for an insider trading investigation. Now, shortly after markets opened, President Donald Trump took to his Truth Social platform with a pair of upbeat posts like "Be cool, everything is going to work out well. USA will be bigger and better than ever before," he wrote, followed closely by a more direct appeal to the investors. And I'm going to quote what he said, that this is a great time to buy. Now, the tech-heavy NASDAQ had its best single day since 2008, climbing nearly 12%. The S&P 500 jumped about 9.5%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained about 8%, or about 2,800 points. Now, Trump's media company outpaced even the major indices, closing up to 22.67%. That rally added 415 million US dollars in value to Trump's 53% ownership stake in the company, held in a trust managed by his son, Donald Trump Jr. And shortly after these posts, what did he do? He put a pause on the tariff, saying that he's putting a pause as far as the tariffs are concerned on all the nations except China. Now, is this kind of an insiders trading scam? Because there are a lot of things which are being said on the social media. Was this insider trading some sort of a conspiracy? Was tariffs just an alibi? Joining me now is international affairs expert and diplomat, Professor Aftab Kamal Pasha. Thank you so much for joining. What does it look like? Has Trump indulged in a conspiracy and indulged in an insider trading, benefiting his own people?
Well, it looks like that it was all pre-arranged, pre-planned, and deliberately done. It is a sort of, taking people and companies for the ride, and also nations for the ride, because the bloodbath which we saw in the American Wall Street and throughout the world over the last 1 week, has wiped out millions and billions of hard-earned people's money, and also the corporate sector's large investment across the world. There is not a single country where shares have not fallen and people have not suffered. So it looks like it was all concocted, it was planned, and this deliberate attempt to pull people and take them for a ride. It shows the manipulative manner in which President Trump is misusing the position of dollar and the U.S. position as a preponderant economic superpower with a huge 27 plus $trillion economy, and taking the whole world for a ride, because it is not just American Wall Street which suffered, or corporate sector and Americans who had invested, but from India to Japan to Europe and Africa, Latin America, you would see across the globe stock markets plunging and people's investments being wiped out. And in the name of tariff, he has played with the economies, and this is not going to be taken easily. And it shows the credibility or lack of it, America and American companies, and how America can handle in future. People will think many times before any policy announced by the United States, because this is seen as fickle-minded, manipulative, and likely to cause irreparable damage to the economies which are so closely tied up with American economy. So they will try to disentangle. They will try to disentangle gradually, like what China is doing. They have learned a bitter lesson, and they stood hard, fast, and they didn't relent. So in that way, what China is doing is setting an example for the other countries that look, unless you are tough with the United States, you will be taught a lesson. So China is going to be a beneficiary from this uh, policy of
No, but
zigzagging.
keep aside the fickle-minded policy which Donald Trump chose to adopt. But the big question now here is, and what is being discussed on the social media, that why did Donald Trump choose to adopt this policy? Was it to benefit his own media company, as what we are being told that it has benefited in terms of millions of dollars? Its value has increased so many times. Likewise, a lot of MAGA supporters or Trump supporters, they have benefited. And a lot of it is being written on the social media that, look, this chaos was deliberately created, it was deliberately manufactured to benefit a certain set of people. So, do you see that there will be a lot of questions asked of Donald Trump? Or do you see this as a win win situation where Donald Trump has proved that, look, tariff was just an alibi? I just brought in tariff just as an idea. But now, since my people have benefited out of it, so now I put a pause. How would people in America and across the world see this?
You see, you must give the benefit of doubt to Trump because even during the election period, for the last 6 months, he has been talking about tariffs. There's no doubt about it. In almost all speeches, I was there until November 7th. I heard him say that America is being ripped off by the rest of the world by a huge tariff which is imposed on American products. So he is consistent on that. But what is mischievous is the attempt by Trump to tell his supporters to buy shares just 4 hours before he paused, except China, on countries which are negotiating with the Americans on new trade deals and lowering the tariffs to 10%. So this is seen as an attempt to help his friends who lost quite a bit. Some say it is 5 trillion, some say it is 11 trillion. So it is substantial. The word bloodbath was used for the huge losses, diving the shares in Wall Street, and also America's linkage with the global finance because of its dollar and headquarters for financing global financial deals. So in that way, immediately it is seen as being helpful to the supporters of Trump. But if you look deeper, if you dig deeper, you see already Elon Musk had expressed his misgivings about this tariffs, especially on China. And many other, about at least 15 CEOs had expressed their misgivings on this tariffs across the board, which Trump had announced. And they had said that this will plunge America into recession. It will plunge America into higher inflation, unemployment, and the likes of which America saw nearly 100 years ago. So, in that way, they were fearful of this unilateral policy of Trump to impose heavy tariffs that instead of reaping in billions of dollars in revenues, it would hurt America, in its economy. So in that way, Congress also had taken clue, and Senate had introduced a bill whereby they wanted to take away the power from the president, from the
Right.
executive, and take their into their own hands. So it was a combination of both conflicting pulls and pressures from corporate, Congress, public opinion, and also the global reaction, which was very adverse to the United States president.
No, but would you say that it is the markets which have forced Donald Trump to put a pause on the tariffs? Because the manner in which the bond markets have responded?
That is single big factor. Markets, lost quite a bit. It was unprecedented in the last 17 years. After that banking crisis and mortgage crisis in 2008, such huge losses were not seen in America and elsewhere. So in that way, you see the linkage is so strong through dollar and American globalization policies over the last 25 plus years. The world cannot be immune from what happens in America. So in that way, it was very clear from the very beginning, this 2 week turmoil which the market suffered, that whatever happens there, it has a cascading effect on the entire globe,
So,
except
Professor
few
Patel,
countries.
now it looks like a clear case of insider trading. He gave out certain information, and which was by which certain set of people benefited who are close to Trump, and after which there's a lot of talk on the social media. And Senator Adam Schiff, who's a Democrat from California, he became the first lawmaker to publicly call for an investigation into potential insider trading or the market manipulation which is linked to Trump's remarks and the subsequent tariff decision. What exactly he said that I'm going to do my best to find out. Schiff has told the Time magazine, family, meme coins, and all the rest of it are not beyond insider trading or enriching themselves. I hope to find out soon. Now, there are calls of Donald Trump to be investigated. Now, who's going to investigate Donald Trump? That's $1 million question. Like what we've seen in our country, Madhvi Puri Butch, who was the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Board of India. There were lots of allegations against her, but nobody, till the end of her tenure, nobody dared to put her in the dock or ask her questions. None of that was done. So, are we going to see a similar thing in America, or do you think that the institutions there will respond a little differently? But what I'm hearing is that the Securities and Exchange Commission also has people who favor Donald Trump. So is that institution also captured? And in that, if you look at that perspective, then do you think anybody will dare to investigate Donald Trump at all on this?
You see, I would not like to compare America with India, because in India, the institution structures have been so weakened and manipulative, and you know they are not taken seriously. Whether it is the Securities Board or any other structure, I don't want to name. But in America, still there is quite a bit of independence and impartiality, and people have faith in those structures that. They will go to the bottom of any such conspiracy, which is now very obvious there, because millions of people who had invested, they have seen their huge losses. So there will be thorough investigation, if not by the Congress, where you have Republican Party controlling the House of Representative and Senate, but there will be demand, and more importantly, even if the official securities bodies is lame and manipulative. But publicly, many other agencies would look into and expose what Donald Trump has done, whether like Watergate scandal or involving Clinton or any other thing. American structures, independent structures, are quite effective, and they'll go to the bottom and expose this manipulative Trump policy. What is significant is America's credibility is at stake. America's economic legitimacy is at stake. So what has happened is not confined to the borders of the United States of America. It has had rippling effect throughout the world, and American credibility is at stake. People will question, how long we can rely on American dollar or American financial structures, and they will try to disassociate if truth is suppressed in America and Trump is upheld what he did, and if there is a cover up, which is unlikely. But still, people across the world, governments across the world are asking questions which are valid. How long we can rely on these kind of manipulative leaders who tend to work for the benefit of their corporate sectors. I'm not suggesting that this is not happening for Ambanis and Adanis in India or oligarchs in Russia or anywhere. But the scale, the magnitude, and the sheer quantum of manipulation and profit made in a matter of 4 hours is unprecedented. So people who have lost billions and billions of dollars across the world in the United States will go deeper, and then they will not spare any moment. This will be the topic of investigation, reporting extensively in American press and around the world. All the financial institutions will be grappling with this, because it's a sort of a tsunami which has happened, and it has swept away people's wealth, countries' wealth, and institutions' wealth who have invested a great deal into the share markets, and it has exposed the fragility of the capitalist system. Also, how it has become manipulative to a certain extent, and how we should ward off and how we should safeguard our savings, and how we have to be away from this kind of loopholes which are used now.
I also want to understand from you now. This looks like a clear case of insider trading where deliberately this kind of a conspiracy was hatched by Donald Trump. Now, whether at all he's going to be investigated or not, but what is the kind of caution which India should adopt now? India can sit back happily and say that, look, this is why we did not retaliate. And now it's like a win win situation for India because they are still in the good books of Donald Trump. So, do you think that when you look at the hindsight, was a right decision taken by India to wait and watch, see how things unfold, and now today can we say that India was right on approach on the manner in which they approached Donald Trump?
No, how can it be right? The loss in the Bombay Stock Exchange is a loss. I don't think they will regain so
Yeah.
quickly. People who have lost it is a terrible loss for them. And look at China. It stood its ground, and it is defiant, and it has imposed retaliatory tariffs, and it is not going to hurt so much China as it will hurt the United States in the long run. So in that way, America has shown India that look, only a tough policy like China would help, and we have shown our weakness. We have shown our over eagerness in talking to the United States about lifting tariffs on so many products, and we have shown our vulnerability. This was expressed by no other person other than the president himself when he said those countries which are willing to negotiate with us, they are trying to kiss a dash dash SS, he said. This is the worst humiliation for any country who is bending backwards over tariff negotiating, and he is insulting publicly, humiliating countries which are bending backward to negotiate with tariff. And India is one such country. This kind of humiliation I've never seen in recent history, and I think it speaks volumes about our eagerness to be on the right side of the United States when other countries, when other friends, Canada is on record as having said that America is no more our friend. EU countries are fed up with American policy, and they say it's not a reliable friend. They are of the same blood. Most of the Americans migrated from Europe and Canada. So if they consider America as not as a friend, why we are going out of the way to befriend America when it is treating with contempt for India and imposing tariffs 26% and giving a discount of only 1%, and now pausing for 90 days and giving only 10%. So this kind of haggling and bargaining is not is unbecoming of a country, and also unbecoming of India to latch on to the United States, which is a sinking ship. American economy cannot be repaired. I'm repeating this. American economy has declined. The American empire has declined because of their own suicidal policies in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, in Sudan, in Yemen, in before that in Vietnam and Ukraine. They have burnt billions and billions of taxpayers' money, which otherwise could have been productively utilized, and American economy would have been much better to face China and remain as the sole superpower politically, economically, militarily. But they have ruined their economy with their foolish policies, with their neocon policies. And we are seen as admiring America, everything, A to Z. I don't understand the logic why the Indian leaders are so weak-kneed and cannot understand their own strategic autonomy in their foreign policy. Why we have to be so vulnerable to the United States when we have strong economy. Our growth rate is very high. We have millions of people willing to work, and by 2040 beyond, we will be one of the largest economies. So instead of being confident in our own capability, we are undermining the confidence of the people who are willing to work, willing to make India great. and the leadership is so weak-kneed and bending over backwards. I think it is totally uncalled for, and we have to review our strategic partnership with the United States and look back and see if their friends are abandoning them. Why we are latching on to the United States? Why not we review our policy and look beyond what we should do in the coming years? How best to safeguard our national interest, and our self-reliance policy has helped us so far. Now, if under American pressure, if we have to abandon that, it will be the most tragic decision in our history, and it will lead us nowhere. It will make us dependent. A sort of pattern-client relationship. America will exploit our weakness or vulnerability, and they will use it against China or wherever in strategic goals they want, like they have used Pakistan for so long. In that way, we are making ourselves vulnerable to American manipulation. And this is the very saddest part of what is unfolding under this government's policy as far as the United States is concerned.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold. But the million dollar question, that for this insider trading, will Trump be investigated? And second question is, how will the other countries now react? Is this pause of the 90 days, which has been put as far as the tariffs is concerned, does it lead to more uncertainty now? Because there might be a temporary relief for the next 90 days, but what happens from thereafter? And what kind of an approach is India going to adopt? Is it going to rework its partnership vis-a-vis America and China? Thank you so much, Professor Pasha, for joining on Public Global. Thank you very much.